We sold 72,000 pairs in 3 days. This thing was lightning in a bottle. We were planning on launching the week after, but Deion's like, insanity's coming. He gifts the shades to all the players in that meeting and it goes fucking bananas. ESPN wears them and then First Take and then The Rock has them on and my phone is exploding and I never knew what it felt like to go viral. Truly insane. You gotta be polarizing.
Yeah.
You gotta be polarizing because we're bold and we're colorful, we're flashy ourselves, you know? But what Nike's done with shoes, like we're doing it with sunglasses.
So you said before that Blenders could hit a $250 million mark someday. What needs to happen to get there?
And we have these conversations all the time. How do we keep growing? How do we look at the business in a new way? And obviously product is very important, marketing is very important, but like I think the reality is it's...
How do you turn a $5 pair of beater shades into a $90 million eyewear brand that partners with Red Bull Racing, A-list celebrities, and even Deion Sanders? That's the story of Chase Fisher, the founder of Blenders Eyewear. Back in 2012, Chase was a broke surf coach in San Diego who saw a gap between cheap sunglasses and overpriced designer pairs. With just $2,000 he borrowed from his roommate, he started selling shades out of his backpack on the beach and at nightclubs. Fast forward, Blenders is now a global lifestyle brand acquired in a multi-million-dollar deal with millions of fans and game-changing partnerships. When Coach Prime walked onto the field wearing Blenders, the internet lit up, and $4.5 million in sunglasses were sold in just 3 days. In this episode, Chase shares how he went from rejection and doubt to building one of the fastest growing consumer brands in America, the mindset shifts that kept him from quitting, and how strategic partnerships can create explosive growth. If you've ever wondered how to build a brand that actually breaks through, this conversation is the playbook. Hey, thanks for coming up to Carlsbad and welcome to the show, Chase.
Thanks for having me, man. I'm super excited to be here. It's only been, how long have we been trying to do this for?
Years, you know. Quick backstory, Chase and I met in Fiji surfing, my favorite place in the world.
Best place ever.
Yeah, I just got back. I know you were jealous you didn't go this year, but for the past 5 years, I haven't gone. So I've been jealous of your trips.
I almost had to meet you on Instagram. It was too hard to watch, man.
Yeah, sure. It was a great trip. But thanks for coming on the show. I'm excited to share with the listeners your experience because you have such a unique background and you built such a great brand. My first question to you is, take us back to the night in San Diego with those $5 beater shades. What made you realize sunglasses could be more than just a cheap accessory?
Man, that night was just a night out with good friends. I was going to see my favorite DJ that I always see when he comes to San Diego. And something got into me that night where I just wanted to wear sunglasses. And I wore neon green sunglasses I bought from Target. And I kid you not, everybody in the club was coming up to me asking about my shades. Where'd you get them? Let me try them on. Those are cool. And I was like, whoa. So the whole kind of like aha moment was on the dance floor of a nightclub. And I just learned that people don't need the flashy labels and the big brands to feel cool. And that sunglasses are not just protection, but they're confidence pieces. So that was sort of the moment where I was like, there was a tension around my shades. What can I do with this, you know?
Yeah, it's pretty cool that I think only an entrepreneur of that mindset like yourself says, wow, there's something here that maybe the market doesn't have.
Totally. So many moments happen in people's lives that they don't actually think about what this moment could be, right? And so that was my moment on the dance floor of a nightclub, seeing my favorite DJ with friends. It was just a night out with good friends turned into a moment that forever changed my life.
So you borrowed $2,000 from your roommate to get started. Looking back, what was the real risk and what did that moment teach you about betting on yourself?
The real risk is, it's not the money, right? It's more of like waking up at 40 and being like, shit, I didn't do anything with my life, right? So it's more of the regret. The regret is the risk. And when you're young and you're filled with confidence and you got all this ambition, you're fresh out of college, what do you do with that? How do you harness that? How do you act on that? And I was just committed to just figuring this out. No experience, no business plan, no idea what the hell I was doing, but just confidence that I can dive in and just figure it out. And that was the mindset that I had. And I had no clue how hard it was actually going to be.
Yeah, the confidence, I think, is one of the best traits you can have in believing in yourself, no 100%. Matter what you do, whether it be health, business, family.
Yeah, I mean, and look, when you're growing up, when you're trying to build your identity, when you're just in, junior high, high school, college, like your whole thing is trying to build confidence. You're trying to understand who you are, right? And all my confidence was always built in different ways. It was always about being different and trying to stand out from the herd because I wasn't going to get noticed in class. So I needed to get noticed outside of class. And I learned just creative ways to build my confidence, to engage with people, to influence, to connect, to stand out in a world of just a sea of sameness, right? And so that was my whole kind of identity of trying to figure out ways to be seen in this world and how to build my confidence. So yeah, I was confident I could figure it out. I was overly ambitious. I was an uninformed optimist for sure. I had no idea what I was getting myself into, but there's beauty in that,
Yeah, and I think like we talked about earlier before this podcast, kind of everyone has a unique skill. It could be math, it could be speaking, it could be relationships. You have to lean into your skill and really hone in on it.
100%, man. I mean, like that was sort of something that I kind of learned early on. I was a kid that was going in a million different directions. I was very curious about the world. I just wanted to learn everything myself. And I got obsessed with all these different things growing up. And as an entrepreneur, that's like a requirement. You have to be curious about the world. You have to be curious about ways to innovate and bring something to the world that the world hasn't seen. And I did that through sunglasses. I did that through color. I did that through design. I did that through creating a product that was fun, that people could engage in, And so I just saw that there was a big need in the market for sunglasses that were in a mid-tier price point. And what better place to do that than San Diego, right? So if it wasn't going to work here, it's not going to work anywhere, right?
That's a great point you got. So early on, you sold blenders out of a backpack at the beaches and nightclubs. What did you learn from that kind of ground level hustle that maybe still applies today?
It takes me back to when I was competing in surf. I was competing on the surf team, right, in high school, and I was doing surf contests. I was never good enough to win heats and win contests, but I was good enough to find ways to be valuable. I was good enough to get sponsored. I was good enough to network with brands. So I had ground game when I was a kid, just from rejection on sports teams, rejection in not winning surf contests. So I had to prove my value in other ways, right? But the ground game of starting Blenders from nothing was the best thing that ever happened to me. Because if somebody would have wrote me a check for $50,000 and said, Chase, go start your business, I would have failed within 4 months because I wouldn't have known how to spend the money. I wouldn't have cultivated the skills that I needed to cultivate, and most importantly, the mindset that it takes, right? So ground game was the prerequisite to learning everything that I needed to learn, right? It forced you to get off the couch. It forced you to learn how to sell. It forced you to learn how to build customer experience. It forced you to learn marketing. It forced you to interact with customers. And I learned that if I can't sell in person, how could I sell online? And so one of those things was just understanding that ground game was the best thing to lay the foundation for the years to come.
Yeah, it's some people, like you said, start a business with money from their family, a big SBA loan or something like that. But if you don't know where to spend the money,
you're going to fail.
I mean, your best lesson is, hey, we're going to make more money. Now, where do we put it? Is
right.
What it sounded like you went through.
Right. And just the scrappy mentality, it's that's one of the greatest attributes you can have as a business. And it's just a great quality for life. How do you do more with less? How do you do more with what you have, right? Maximizing what you have and not taking it for granted. And bootstrapping a business is extremely rare in 2025. It's not seen anymore, unfortunately. Entrepreneurs think they can just go out and raise a bunch of money and start a business and be successful. And I don't know any other way to start outside of a backpack. That's the only way I've done it. So my beginnings are extremely humble, you know what I mean? And but I'm very thankful because it taught me everything I needed to learn to be at this place in time, right?
Yeah, and you hit on something that I think is very true, is most small businesses fail in the first couple of years.
Big time.
And it's you have to gain experience and you have to grow a team in order to grow a business.
Yes. And you also need product market fit. That's the biggest thing that I'm noticing too, is people start businesses pop up in PB that I'm like, this is going to be out in 4 months. I hope it works, but I just know it's not going to work because they didn't do their research. They weren't in tune with the community. They didn't go out and actually ask questions and learn about their customers. And starting from a backpack forces you to have one-to-one relationships with people. Learn about what their needs are, learn what they like, what they don't like, and then design your product to meet those needs, So, I could see right through it for sure, but I'm a scrappy kid at heart, right? My whole life I've been scrappy, so I think it plays well into Blenders as well.
That's great. So what was the first, this is a real moment where you knew Blenders wasn't just a side hustle. This could be the real deal.
Oh man. So this is actually funny. So within our first 6 months of starting Blenders, I was like super confident. Everything's going to work. We're going to hit it out of the park on day one. That was the furthest thing from the truth, right? On the first day of launch, I thought I was going to sell all 300 pairs. Literally, I brought all 300 pairs of San Diego State because I thought we're going to sell 300. I barely sold like 8 pairs. Okay. I left that day going, shit, back to surf lessons I go, right? 6 months in, business was extremely tough. We weren't making any money. Me and my business partner needed side jobs. I got a job at GNC. My GNC career lasted 7 minutes long. I walked into GNC in my proper dress code. My shirt was, I had a white I had a white dress up shirt, black slacks, and dress shoes. I walk in and the GM says, Chase, your shirt's wrinkled, your shoes aren't shined, and your pants are wrinkled too. Go home, shine your shoes, iron your shirt, and when you get back, you have to sell 2 vitamin packs because every employee on their first shift has to sell 2 vitamin packs. Oh, and by the way, no phones on the floor. He threw my papers against my chest. I walked out and I never walked back in. I called my business partner at the time. I'm like, Blake, I don't give a flying shit what this takes, but we are making this work no matter what. And that was the experience that truly changed my life. I held the shortest career in GNC history. I got a check for $8.62. 2 weeks later, I bought a burrito with it. But it was my first kick in the ass of like, I never want that experience ever again. And so for me, that was profound. That's when I realized no matter what, this is not going to be a side hustle. This is going to work under any circumstance possible. Zero option mentality.
I mean, so it sounds like you're grateful that even you took that job and you showed up because it taught you more.
I'm thankful for that GM. He changed my life, truly changed my life in the best way possible. So I just made it my mission that I was not going to have that experience again. My team, whenever we got to a certain level to bring on people and hire new people, that my employees and my staff would never have that experience that I had because it was traumatizing, man. It was awful. I was in GNC of all places. It was like a military style operation. I was like, this is awful. I didn't go to college for this.
Yeah, and I think listeners can take away a lot just from that story. I love that story. I was known as like, some people are like, why do you change jobs all the time? Like when I was in early 20s, like in college, I go, well, I would go work somewhere. I would sell, like be the top employee real quick if I could.
Right.
And then you ask for a raise. I typically would get one real quick. And then all of a sudden there's like nowhere else to go. Or at one point I had a racist boss.
Ooh.
As a white guy, you never thought you would deal with it.
Right.
But I did.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, it wasn't a good job. It was a Domino's pizza delivery guy.
Okay, yeah.
It was nice $1 per hour.
Yeah.
And I lasted that like 2 months. Not because I didn't like the job. I'm like, the GM was terrible. Like, it's unfair. I make half of what everybody else makes. I was the only white guy that worked there.
Right.
It sounds funny, but I got to see some of that. And so I think going through some of these crappy jobs, giving it a shot, you learn a lot of what you don't want.
And you have to. Like in order to know what you want, you have to know what you don't want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what really like those early days are for. That's what like getting jobs out of college and like figuring out who you are and what you want to do. Like you're supposed to fumble. You're supposed to like kind of like figure it out. You know, like that's the whole purpose of life, right? Is like no one ever has it figured out. But in order to know what you want to do, you got to know what you don't want to do first.
I think I had a lot of friends. Times have changed since I graduated college. I had a lot of friends that went to college and they're like, hey, I'm going to get a job right out of college, making 60 or 80 grand a year, which was a lot back then. And either it did happen and they stayed with the job for 20 years and maybe they're bored,
right?
You know, or you also have those people that were kind of like me, like changing jobs to try and get where you really want to be. I think the mindset is a little bit different nowadays, where people are okay, the younger generation is okay changing jobs.
Right.
You don't find necessarily the people, unless they're cops or firemen, that they're going to go work a job for 30 years.
Right.
There's just so much opportunity for people. But I think you would do the same. I would encourage people, really go after your dream. And hopefully your dream is not just work for somebody else for 20 years.
Right.
Unless you just absolutely love what you do, then more power to you.
Right. And it's almost, I mean, like try a bunch of things at the beginning, knowing that one of these is going to stick. Everyone's like, oh, follow your passion. But the reality is people don't even know their passion. Like that's a preconceived misconception, right? How about follow your curiosity until you get bored, until you're like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. But try something and then figure out what you want to do and then stick to that and make sure you're best in class with that.
Agreed. All right, hope you're enjoying this episode of the Captain Kurt Show. Our sponsor this week is our guest, Chase Fisher, the founder of Blenders Eyewear.
Pumped to be here, guys. If you haven't heard of Blenders, now you have. We specialize in the coolest sunglasses you've ever seen. If you love San Diego, you love sunglasses, we're for you.
Now, Chase has hooked us up with a 20% discount code for all you listeners. So go to blenderseyewear.com, use discount code CC for the Captain Kurt, CC20 for 20% off. Now back to the show. So what was the hardest, I should give up moment, and how did you push through that?
I mean, man, dude, I've had so many moments along the way where I just wanted to quit, and I'm like, this is not going to work. And it's hard to even count. I mean, first off, it's like in the first year, things weren't going very well, obviously. And I was like, dude, this is a joke. Like, I look like a clown. I'm not selling anything. We're not making any money. Like, what the fuck am I doing, sort of thing, And I was going to quit. I was like, I'm done. This is it. And then I forget who told me, but it was the best advice I ever got at that time. And he's like, Chase, the only way you're going to fail is if you stop. Just keep going. And from that point forward, that's where our two stripes of life and forward motion were pretty much born. And that's what our stripes symbolizes. It's like where you are now, where you want to be. And every day, just make a little bit more progress each day, but don't stop. Because at the end of the day, when it gets extremely hard, that's when most people quit, And in order to get through those tough times, really get through those tough times, stick it out, you got to be so connected to what you do that no matter what, you can't let it go because it's too meaningful to you. So if you're chasing the money, you've already lost, but building a brand that represents you, building a brand that's original, that meets the product market fit, and being connected to that, that's incredibly important to last through those hard times. And early on, it's just about you, right? All you're trying to do is just keep the dream alive in any way possible. But as you get bigger, customers are now invested in you. Your employees are now invested in you. You have partners that have invested in you. So your why becomes so much bigger that I have an obligation to now not quit, to ensure that all of my team's dreams come true. And that's what keeps me going at this point in time. I don't need to show up every day, but I love it because I want their dreams to come true. And that's what keeps me going through the hardest of times.
Do you think, speaking on that, do you think in the beginning, let's say years ago before you found a lot of success, do you think it was more personal, I'm not going to fail and keep it going? Or do you think it was more of a, hey, I don't want people to look at me like a failure? Was it inside you, or were you worried that your friends or family or current customers would say, oh, this guy failed, he couldn't do it? They're a little similar, but a little different.
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I think one of my greatest lessons and just learnings is just starting younger, right? You have a lot less to lose when you start younger than you do when you're older. And for me, it was always just about my whole life, I had a chip on my shoulder. I was just that kid that was being told you weren't smart, you're not going to be successful, you're in special education. I had a terrible stutter. I was dyslexic. I mean, I was in special learning classes. When all my friends would go right down the hall, I went left. And it just crushed my confidence, right? So going back to being confident, I had to learn ways to build my confidence. And so my whole life, I was like, I know I can do something great. I know what I'm passionate about. I loved surfing. I loved interacting with brands. I was that kid, right? Going in a million different directions, just filled with abundance, knowing that I was capable of great things, but I didn't know what to pour it into, And so for me, it was about just proving to myself that I could do something great. And just because I was told you don't need to be smart to be successful, you have to be smart to be successful. I was like, that's bullshit. No. I never thought in my wildest dreams I would be in this position now and my life would be this way and this would actually come to fruition. But I knew what I was passionate about at a young age. So I needed to prove to myself that you could do it. And entrepreneurship taught me that. I would have never known what I was capable of if I didn't start Blenders, ever.
Yeah, that's such a great story. And so at what age do you think you started building the confidence? I mean, was it high school that you were kind of on the surf team, taking different classes? So at what age do you think you kind of came out of that? Was it college or was it
in high
school?
I mean, obviously I was in 7th grade. My mom noticed my learning disability was really bad. So that's when she started to place me in special education. I started to be on medication, and that's when my confidence was really shot. So I learned my confidence through surfing, right? And so my best friend at the time was the best surfer in the school. He was winning every single contest. So we'd go to the contest together. I would lose first heat. He would win the whole contest, and I'd be sitting on the beach for hours. I'd be like, how am I going to make my time valuable, right? And I started networking with all the brands that were at the contest. And I actually got placed in Surfing Magazine 2004, full page spread without ever winning a contest. He won every contest and was never featured in Surfing Magazine. I was. I showed that you don't need trophies to be relevant. And so for me, that was a shining moment where I was like, wow, he's winning all the contests, but I found creative ways to provide value, and I got the full page spread. And I was like, that's it. How do I do more of that? You know, how do I show up differently? And so that kind of became a big milestone. And then I started getting in ads for for all the sponsors for like multiple years on the magazine. And it was like, that was cool. You know what I mean? So that was, for me, that was big. And then I just kept building on that, you know, and I was thankful that I moved to San Diego because I came from Santa Barbara, big surf town, lots of great surfers coming out of that place. I was never good enough to go pro, but I was good enough to like build relationships and get sponsored. And San Diego was my next venture because I would come to San Diego a lot to compete on all the high schools down here. And I just loved it. I was like, how do I get to San Diego?
Yeah, Santa Barbara is a great town. The water's a little bit colder there.
Yeah, cold for sure.
But I feel like there's so many different contest series for high schoolers and adults, even
Totally.
WSA, NSSA. San Diego's just got so many beaches, and I feel like there's a contest every weekend, every other weekend.
Tons of action, tons of people. It's a bigger Santa Barbara. It's the sunniest place in the country. Like, it's not, you know, this is it. This is the mecca of like California cool, you know?
Yeah.
This is where it starts.
People want to live here. That's why people may be leaving California. Businesses are leaving California. There's not many people leaving San Diego. We have a grow. San Diego continues to grow.
Right. And if you're coming from LA, stay up in LA,
Yeah.
please. Keep LA 100 miles away, please.
So I'm sure you've had some mistakes along the way, from failed clothing lines, retail missteps. What's one painful lesson that actually shaped your business today?
Man, I mean, I'm just such a gambler at heart, right? I like taking my shot. I like taking swings. And I learned early on, you're not going to hit a home run every time, right? And you're supposed to fail. You're supposed to flop. You're supposed to miss, right? And I think this space we're in with entrepreneurship and like new entrepreneurs coming in are just so fixated on showing the highlight reel and just showing all the wins and the success. And like, it's creating this false reality of what the world, or like what the space really is. And I love talking about the wipeouts. I love talking about the flops because it makes the wins real. It makes the journey actually that much more meaningful. So yeah, there's no mistake that I've made all the mistakes in the world, multiple times over. But I just realized like regret hurts way more than failure, man. That's just it. Like, I just want to be the guy that went for it. And I'm not going to make the shot every time. I mean, would Jordan have as much fun if he hit every shot? No. You know what I mean? Like, you're supposed to miss, and it's important to highlight those misses and what you learn from those misses, because it's not really a failure. It's more of like a learning. Mm-hmm. And some are just, you got to live with them for a lot longer than others. And some, you know, will sting you to the core, but that's what the journey is about, you know?
I think most people are afraid to fail, whether it's lose on an investment, start a side hustle that it doesn't work out. And I think that's, people live in too much fear, where the people that go for it, whether they succeed or not, they may succeed in just the things they learn along the way to help their life or their family, or the confidence, like you said, right?
100%, man. I mean, you got to try things. You got to stick your neck out. You got to be bold. You got to have the courage to try things, you know? And that's what entrepreneurship is. Like, it's big, giant experiment. You got to try new things. You got to throw stuff against the wall to see what sticks. And that's how the space evolves. That's how the world evolves. I mean, that's where innovation comes from, right? So I'm a gambler. I like doing this. I don't actually gamble. I gamble every day with Blenders, but there's no big bet that I'm not afraid to take, you know? And we are where we are because of those bets, you know?
I love it. It's a great mindset. I mean, I spent months or years working on mindset, just like how to improve it. I mean, there's really no negativity in I don't even like negative people in my circle.
I agree,
like,
man.
I've removed them all,
I agree.
you know? And it's something I read some personal growth books, and and a lot of it said remove the negativity.
You got to, man. I mean, that's such a big thing that I learned early on too in college. It's like, it's not the stuff you learn in the classroom. It's the conversations you have at 2 o'clock in the morning. Mm-hmm. It's the friends that you make. It's the network that you build. It's the relationships that you build. And like, you got to put yourself around the right people, man. You just have to. And that's, it's trite, it's cliche or whatever, but it's so true. I mean, that's one of my greatest things is like, I put myself in situations with a group of guys that I aspired to be, that were years ahead of me, that also showed me what was possible. And sometimes you don't know what's possible until your best friends do it before you. And it's really, really, really important. So yeah, put yourself around the right people. You shouldn't be the smartest guy in the room. Just be a sponge, learn, but don't be a taker all the time.
Yeah, I tell people, and I agree with you. I actually pay. I'm in like a mastermind mentorship.
Yeah.
It's really more of a club.
Yep.
We pay $25,000 a year to be in it. That was a lot of money to write that check, 25 grand just for some real estate mentorship. And then what I've learned is, my friend asked me today, "Are you still in that?" And I go, "Oh, I'm actually going to level up to the 50,000 a year."
Wow.
And it's not that I have made money on it yet, because I don't necessarily need to. It's mentorship where people are doing 10 to 50x of what I'm doing. But the difference is, you show up to these quarterly meetings. We have like every other week online Zoom calls that are just, what are some wins? What are some losses? What do you guys need help with? Right? And they break it out into individual rooms. All these people own a business, and it's all real estate related. But what's cool is I'll walk into a room at our quarterly meetup, and there's people that are worth $50 million in the room. And then I'm not worth anything near that, but I have a goal to get close to that.
Yep.
But I actually have a lot of advice to give them on marketing or different topics or things I've learned because I study so much.
Right.
And they help me with things and I help them.
Yep.
And I come home from those quarterly meetings, which were right before I went to Fiji. And I remember telling my girlfriend, like, keep the household secure and keep running the home, because we're going to make, like, we're going to crush.
I love that.
And so it's cool being around people. And I'll tell you this, there's one guy in the room, that one guy specifically, that I am like, okay, this guy's going to be my best friend. And no joke, he doesn't know it yet. Like, he's like me, so he's not flashy. He loves his 2 kids. He's a workout freak. He's in a similar space than mine. And so I'm surprising him. He's running with David Goggins in a race.
Oh, that's awesome.
Moab, some crazy race that I would never do, something like that. But anyway, so he's running this race, and I'm showing up, surprising him, just to support him.
Love that.
I don't need to. I'm not telling him I'm coming. I did the research, and I'm going to tell him, hey, we're going to be best friends whether you know it or not.
Yeah.
And it's not, I'm going to put myself in that situation.
Totally.
I'm not taking, he uses my civil engineer now. Like, I've given him people that I have, but the guy makes 15 more than I do per year. But it doesn't matter about that. It's who you are as a person.
Right.
Be authentic, be humble.
Yeah. It's just value exchange.
Exchange.
It's just all about value exchange.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And there's so much to learn from people. Like, I'm in the same thing too that you have. Like, I'm in like a group chat, and it's like probably 10 of the biggest D2C founders in the game. I mean, this group chat's probably doing over $1 billion in sales. And I kid you not, like, it is so incredibly valuable. And some of the guys in the group chat have like insider knowledge or like intel into the White House. So they know what's going on before it even gets announced, right? About like tariffs or like whatever regulations or tax codes might be coming out that are important, or just like compliance, whatever, or economy, like things like that. And it's so valuable. Like, the next $1 billion idea is going to be started in a group chat, like, truly, because of the information exchange, and everyone's in non-competing spaces. Mm-hmm. So everyone's just trying to help each other. And that's what the space really needs more of, is that, because it is lonely, not by proximity, but it's just lonely where there's not a lot of people doing what you're doing. And so you have to be in those rooms, in those conversations.
You're right. And I have some great friends from high school. We used to go out and drink beers on Friday nights, and then everybody kind of started having kids. I had kids much later. But what I've realized, they're great people. They got good jobs. I loved growing up with them, but they're not my business circle anymore, because my mindset is business.
Right.
And my new circle is, hey, are you a business owner? Are you growing? Are you positive? Where's your mindset?
Yeah.
That's the circle. I don't go out on Fridays for beers, ever.
Right.
Like, I don't want to.
Yeah, I agree.
I want to go to a business meeting at lunch and have a 2 or 3 hour meeting with a group, or pay to go to an event.
Right.
I'm going to New York this month, and I told one of my new partners, I go, you have to go to New York. Like, you pay your way there. Like, we're going as a team, but this will change the business. So
100%.
That's how I spend my time. I know you have a cool surf group, your little club, you know, and you guys are all different. And when I met you guys in Fiji, and I thought you guys were all, you just had so different, similar personalities, but different fields, right?
Yeah.
Like, one guy's a news anchor.
Yeah,
And
we should have our own like TV show. I swear to God, man. It's unbelievable. But these are all guys that I was just talking about. These are guys that I met in college.
Yeah.
These were guys that I surrounded myself with. These are guys that I wanted to be friends with. And it's incredibly cool. What we have is incredibly rare. It's very, very, very rare that guys in their 30s all live 2 blocks from each other, are all entrepreneurs, all went to San Diego State, and have all built their own business and their own success in their own way. And we're all like our own little tribe, right? And we've all done it together. And like those hard times, man, when you're like just going through the gauntlet and you're just getting punched after punch after punch, like those are the people that you lean into, you know, and most founders don't have that. And that's why most founders end up going off the rails, because they don't have a sense of foundation. They don't have a close connection to their business, and they don't have a group of guys or a group of friends that they can lean into when shit hits the fan.
And I think when you have a support group like that, when you go through, let's just say a bad experience, a loss, we've all had them. As I've had a couple large losses financially. The only reason I kind of made it through, like quickly, let's say, I kind of bounced back within a couple days or a week, is because the people on my team and that I was surrounded by are like, hey, I know that took years to make. You're going to make that in like 6 months.
Right.
Like, you have learned so much since then. Like, don't worry about it. And I'm over here going, man, I might have a heart attack. I could have paid my mortgage off with the money I just lost. And then they're like, no, because you're going to make 100 times that. So just don't. And I had to continue forward. But the right group was around my circle. If I had an older circle, it would have been like, why'd you do that? Why'd you take that risk? Why? Well, hold on. I took the risk because I made a bunch of money and then I lost on some, and it is what it is.
It is what it is.
And they're right.
Yeah.
But being surrounded by the right group of people.
And it's friendly competition, you know, you secretly want to outdo your friends, and you want to keep like outpacing them in a way, you know, they keep you honest. You guys are supporting each other. You guys all want to see each other win, but there's internal competition to want to outdo the other guy too. So it creates like some friendly fire, you know? It
does, in a positive way.
Totally.
It's not a jealousy way. It's like hey, I just want to get a big win. It might not even be the same financially.
Yeah.
I'm like, I just want to get 2 more deals done this year. They don't have to compete with these guys doing $30 million a year, because I also don't want that life.
Right.
And I actually won an award this last time, which I'm super stoked on, because they do Playmaker Award. So one person in each room of, like, let's say 30 people.
Okay.
They split it up into rooms. So I'm in a real estate development room. Then there's like Airbnb hosts, and then there's like apartment complex guys. There's home flippers.
Wow.
Everybody goes into different rooms. So you're talking with developers and land buyers, and that's the room I want to be in. Moral of the story, when I presented, we get to present for 30 minutes. You talk about what are your challenges, and everyone pours into you for 30 minutes.
Wow.
And then you can go to dinner and happy hour. It's all a group thing. But so for 30 minutes every quarter, I stand there and go, here are my challenges. How can you guys help me in suggestions? Which is rad. But anyways, I won an award for this last trip. The reason was I stood up there and said, hey, I've actually gone backwards in the business for a good reason. I shut down these 2 other side businesses. I did this. I did a lot of things that I cleared stress. I sold a bunch of properties that were a pain in my butt. And I'm like, well, I know they can be worth more, but they were worth more selling and removing from my life because the partner wasn't great. I was getting emails and phone calls every day. And they were like, hey, it doesn't matter about growing the business. You actually grew I got the stress removed from my plate.
Yeah.
So it was really cool that they recognize that. It's not just, hey, the guy made $10 million this quarter.
Right.
It's, oh, this guy's actually making health moves. I'm pouring into my family more. It's like,
love that.
I got realigned.
Yes.
And it was weird to leave a meeting to go, I know what I need to do, but I need to actually shrink the business to be able to grow.
And that's so important to realize that, you know, because every entrepreneur, all they want to talk about is growth. Grow. And that growth at any cost mentality is dangerous. You know, growth can be equally as dangerous. Growing too fast, like we did that, and it just got us in trouble. And then growing too slow, right? So it's like you got to find the balance. And sometimes you do have to take 1 step back to take 2 steps forward. And we're doing that right now. Like we're in that kind of process of resetting, realigning, you know, transitioning into this new kind of like team we have, into this new identity that we've built, and then we're going to kind of build for the future. But it becomes really challenging, you know, with that growth at any cost mentality when, you know, now that we're acquired, it's like pay your rent and pay it in full every month, right? And we don't care how you do it, just do it. And it's like you sacrifice the brand. You start undermining the brand. You start making bad decisions. And so there's something to be said about growing steadily and growing healthy, because you got to ask yourself, what are you building here?
Sometimes you got to step back just to reanalyze. And I think a good founder, a good CEO does that.
Totally. You know, and not every company, what company or brand do you know that's grown 50 years in a row, right?
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen,
Not
right?
really, yeah.
Like,
even Tesla had some hard years before they grew a ton, right?
And so zooming out, I think, is like really important, right? It's like, okay, cool. Not every brand grows 50 years consecutively.
Yeah.
It's just not possible.
Yep.
So you're going to have a couple down years, just the way it goes.
Well, I love watching your growth and partnerships. And this one I want to hit on that I think is impressive. And I remember texting you like, Chase, how did this Deion deal's insane? Like, because I like Deion anyway, right? But my question is like, Walk us through the Deion partnership. Like, how did it come together and how did it explode into that $4.5 million of sales in 3 days?
Man, dude, this has been like earth shattering, So taking a step back, right? In 2023, 2022, I took some big bets. It was Red Bull. We signed a deal with F1, which was always like, I've always dreamed of working with Red Bull. It was always one of my dreams. I never thought it would come in the fashion of F1, but it did. We signed Red Bull. At the same time, we opened up our Santa Monica retail store, which is our third store on the 3rd Street Promenade. This was like post-COVID, like we're going to get in early. And that was like the most prominent strip in the country for retail, all owned by legacy brands. So I had 2 huge bets. Santa Monica store cost $1 million to build. Massive, way over budget, and it was a year late. Then I had Red Bull. Both things I had no results to show for it. Then Deion comes into the picture. And I was getting texts from my dad about Deion about a year before that. He was sending me text messages in 2022 this was when he was at Jackson State. He's like, Chase, you better check out Deion Sanders. Look at what Deion Sanders is doing. Like, he's making big waves in college. He's making big waves in leadership. And I was just like, I was getting annoyed by my dad. I was like, God, Dad, come on, dude. Like, stop. Like, I got Red Bull and Santa Monica I'm focused on. Like, and he sent me a text and he's like, Chase, if you don't do this, somebody else will. And that text just kind of like lit a fire into my ass. So I was like, okay, I'm going to reach out in plans of planting the seed for next year and just see if they're interested. It just so happens Prime was in market for a sunglass deal at that time. Blenders was on his radar, but he wanted it done in 2023. And I had to make a bold, audacious call. I was like, shit, I have 2 huge big bets, Red Bull and Santa Monica, no results. Now I'm going to take a third big one. But something told me that this was like our Nike X Jordan moment. Like, just had to go for it, So we just went for it. We went all in. We connected with his team. I sent him a video, and he's like, Blenders, who's ever behind this, call me. I sent the video to my dad. He goes, Chase, call him. So I called him, and we just went off to the races. And it reminded me of when we were smaller again, of just being super scrappy and just going for it, right? And so we went for it, and we ordered, I think, 15,000 pairs, thinking that was already really scary. And I knew it could be big, but I had no idea it could be that big. We sold 72,000 pairs in 3 days. And this thing was lightning in a bottle. And I remember sitting there on Friday. This was when the Colorado coach made a comment to Deion Sanders. They were playing Colorado. Colorado State was playing CU. And he goes, when I talk to grownups, I take my hat off and my shades off. And we were planning on launching the week after. But Deion's like, he texts our camp and he's like, insanity's coming. He gifts the shades to all the players in that meeting, and it goes fucking bananas. And then I'm sitting in my conference room with my leadership coach, and my leadership goes, Chase, what are you doing in San Diego? He's like, Phil Knight would be on the field in Boulder. Go. Mm-hmm. So I ran out, got tickets to Boulder, and I brought my dad, I brought my team, and we just went. We had no idea what to expect. And then ESPN wears them, and then First Take, and then The Rock has them on, and my phone is exploding, and I never knew what it felt like to go viral, right? And now I felt like what it was like, truly insane. And it's been it was the greatest right place, right time moment in social media history. I mean, you can't script it, truly.
I mean, I was excited for you as just someone that, met you and chatted with you a bunch of times, and I liked your personality. I like seeing people win. And when I saw that and you told me the story originally about your dad, and I was like, dude, your dad's right. But I also got to commend you for taking the risk. I didn't know you had 2 kind of big investments that weren't paying at the time. Big
time, and just the timing felt wildly irresponsible. Like as the owner, like I'm bringing this to my parent company to say, hey, I got another big bet, but these 2 haven't even proved any results. Like, it was just wildly irresponsible, it felt like. But again, it's that intuition, it's that inkling, it's that you got to be a believer, and in the spirit of surfing, right? You go to Fiji to get the wave of your life, right? This is my 100-foot wave. Yeah. Like Prime was my 100-foot wave. You work 100%. Your whole career for this type of moment.
Yeah.
And it's just been a game changer for us, truly transformational. And we're still in the process of realigning and recentering the brand, because we went from sponsoring action sports athletes to being the face of college sports overnight, and then the face of The Rock. And so it was like, holy shit, like, how do we capitalize on this? What does this mean for the brand? Now the brand expanded so much. And we're dealing with kind of the repositioning this whole thing and what does this look like in the future. But it's been the wave of my life, dude. Truly.
Well, I know you brought the here on display. You got the it's the third series, right? So third season of Deion's. I've liked every single one of them, honestly.
These are insane, huh?
And dude, I love them. I think, and they're so him.
So him.
Yeah. And I love Deion Sanders. A lot of people I love that he I think you know him better than I do. I only know him from media and all that. He seems like such an authentic, positive, wants the best for people, and that's a person I'm attracted to. So when you got that deal, I was like, dude, he is going to be, and he's controversial, right? Some people don't like him.
Totally.
And that's kind of good for marketing.
It's great. You got to be polarizing.
Yeah.
You got to be polarizing because polarizing gets talked about. Polarizing gets seen. It gets, it creates headlines, right? And he's always in sunglasses, and it's just his identity, right? He just likes to be loud. He likes to be flashy, and we're bold and we're colorful. We're flashy ourselves, So what Nike's done with shoes, we're doing it with sunglasses,
And you hit such a good point. I think there's a movie on Nike, right? On Netflix, Air. And during that, Michael Jordan's mom is representing him, and they got this crazy deal. She's like, no, we want a percentage of the profits.
Right.
And they're like, oh, we've never done that before. She goes, well, you're doing it now.
Yeah.
I'd say that paid off pretty darn well for Nike.
Big time, man. Big time. And they threw the whole company at Jordan and it worked.
Yeah.
So then that's Nike. That's one of the biggest companies in the world.
Yeah.
Right. So you got to take risks. You got to stick your neck out. You got to be courageous in your moves, and you got to go for it.
Yeah. I love it. So I'm glad to see you got season 3 coming with him.
Yeah.
It's so cool to see you at the games. Just from the documentary that they have, I think it's on Amazon or whatever. I love watching all those shows, and the old lady, Peggy that goes on the field. I've seen you in photos, and I'm like, I think it's the coolest thing that he's created the culture of just in the town of Boulder.
In the town
absolutely
of Boulder.
Loves him. I know the stadium is filled every single game now.
Sold out. He single-handedly has lifted the entire economy of Boulder. I walk down the street at Pearl Street, and you go in the coffee shops, and they're like, business hasn't been this good in 25 years.
Wow.
What he's done for that, not just the school, but the whole community, it's unbelievable. Truly has uplifted everything about it.
Yeah,
special.
And it's great for the athletes, not just the football players at Boulder.
Right.
It's good for the whole school.
It's good for the whole school, man. And Deion we talk about the third space a lot. You have your standard, and then you have your coach that's more of a legacy coach, and then your your younger player coach, and then you have the Deion. Mm-hmm. He's created this third space of coaching, right? But he's done it his whole life. And so he's got the cachet, he's got the flash, but he's got the results to back it up on the field.
Yeah, and I believe is Warren Sapp coaching there now?
Yeah.
I thought that was a cool, so he can attract
Marshall Falk too, who's also from San Diego State.
Yep.
And Sean Lewis, who was the offensive coordinator with him a couple of years ago, is now the head coach of San Diego State. So SDSU, CU, those are my 2 Trojan horses, baby.
I love it. All right, well, let's talk about Red Bull real quick. What's the playbook for landing brand partnerships with Red Bull or these big athletes? We talked about Deion. Red Bull was a huge one. So what's the key to landing a partnership like that?
For me, it's more of it gives the brand an opportunity to set a standard, right? So much. Sometimes you get a little lazy in just the standard that you have internally, but when you work with a partner, it forces you to a new level, and you can really learn the process inside and out. But Red Bull specifically is it's not just you tap into the whole Red Bull ecosystem. And Red Bull's been my favorite brand since I was in high school. I don't think there's any brand in the world that is synonymous with the world epic. They sell sugar water, and they're sending people to space. And so they just have inspired me so much and what they've been able to build. And I always wanted to be the Red Bull of eyewear. So Red Bull was a little personal bias for me just because I had so much infatuation with them, and I just love what they've done. But a company like Red Bull, you look at what they have to offer, their ecosystem. You're not just tapping in, yes, we tapped into F1, but we get the whole Red Bull ecosystem that we're tapping into. And we learn a lot from them, from a creative process, from an activation process, from product marketing fit. There's just so many things that you can learn from partnerships like that. And if you can align both audiences really, really, really well, that's what really, really hits home. And so we massive success with Red Bull, massive success in F1. F1 has never treated eyewear seriously. We came in, we showed that eyewear could be perceived in a new way. We became a top 10 license with Red Bull. We learned the creative process. We learned the standard that they hold. And unfortunately, we got booted from Maui Gym. They came in and they just dropped $4 million and said, see ya Blenders, and it's all good. Not every partnership is supposed to last a lifetime, But Red Bull was an exciting one for sure, close to my heart.
Yeah, I love it. It's such a cool story. Hope you're enjoying this week's episode of the podcast. If you're into real estate investing and want to consider partnering with Captain Capital, go to our website, captaincapital.com/invest, fill out the simple form, and let's book a call with the team. Now, back to the show. So, Blenders was valued at about $90 million, acquired in 2019. What financial or strategic shift unlocked that kind of scale?
Man, so much to this. Holy smokes. I mean, I think personally, like as a founder, right? There's two sides, like the personal and then like the professional side. The personal side of just like what I had to go through as a kid, like was just so profound, and all the challenges and obstacles and adversity I had to overcome, right? And as a founder, most founders never get the opportunity, yet alone even get in the conversation and have an acquisition like we had, right? It's so rare. So that's such a top of wave moment for any founder, right? But it was never the exit. It was always about evolution. Mm-hmm. And professionally, at about year 8, I realized that we started to get, like, this thing was no joke. Like, we were doing 30 to 40 million in sales, and I started to get calls from investors. I started to get calls from bankers, strategics, like showing up at my door, wanted to schmooze me, fly me to New York, Chicago, and we got all this interest. And I was like, okay, this is actually kind of serious. And then we started getting lawsuits, and people started suing us. And I remember being in Tennessee, and I opened up my phone, and I'm on a speaking gig, and boom, our first lawsuit for $5 million. And I had this moment. I was like, holy shit, this could all be gone tomorrow. 100% of this brand is tied up in me. All my self-worth is tied up in this. And I needed to look at the future. Am I going to go left? Am I going to go right? Left was like a lifestyle business, or right to be a strategic, make a power play, make a big move that's going to set us up for the future. And I had to ask myself, why did I start this? I started this to be the best. I started this to build a generational brand, to build a brand that's going to be around for 50, 60, 70 years, a brand that my kids are going to wear, that my kids' kids want to wear. And what does that look like for the future? Like, we were able to get this far on our own, but in order to really take that next step and put the business in the best position for future growth, I made this decision, when we partnered with Safilo, which is the second largest in the world, and they focus entirely on product manufacturing and licenses and all the different product innovation. And, it was a great partnership, and it's just been navigating through this new post-acquisition life. But yeah, I needed to make a hard decision. Like, there's only one Blenders. There's not going to be Blenders 2, right? And so I knew I get one shot, and I want to make sure this one shot is to the moon.
Yeah, it's a really cool story. So you said before that Blenders could hit a $250 million mark someday. What has to happen, like mindset, team, capital-wise? What needs to happen to get there?
Gosh, man, we're still trying to figure this out, and we have these conversations all the time. How do we keep growing? How do we look at the business in a new way? And obviously product is very important, marketing is very important, but like, I think the reality is it's the culture that you create, man. I mean, you talk to any great team, you go to any great organization, you go to any big company, like, it's the people, it's the culture that they've been able to cultivate to take their business to that next level, and you can scrap your way to 40, 50 million, but you can't scrap your way to 250. You just can't. It's a full mindset shift. It's a full culture reset. And you got to look at the business in a different way. And so it's all about pouring into culture, honestly, and getting your team so bought into the vision, which I think is the difference between very successful founders and not successful founders, is implementing your vision through other people. Like, one of the hardest things you can ever do as a founder is implement your vision through other people and get out of the way, right? So I had to step down, right? I was holding the business back. I had to take a new role. I had to be in a new seat, because I reached a threshold. Founder mode started to break, started to crack. And my unique ability and my strengths and the work that I wanted to do just wasn't getting done. So you have to have a lot of humility. You have to have a world-class team, and you got to pour into that team. And you got to create a vision so big that all their dreams fit inside it. And that's the difference between 200 and 50, 60, 70, right? But yeah, we got a lot of work to do before we can get there.
So when did you hire? You hired a CEO recently, and it allowed you to really just play the founder marketing role, and you're doing what you really love to do. I see you at SDSU games, at Colorado games, you're traveling, you're doing a lot of podcasts and media, and I think it's a great fit for you. So how's the transition going Like giving up the reins to a CEO and allowing you to get out there.
Yeah, I'm still navigating it, right? It's an identity shift, right? You build your entire business and brand around you, right? And then you basically unseat yourself, And so I had to look in the mirror and be really honest with myself. And honestly, it's been a long decision in the making. I just hadn't really had the time to reset and come to fruition of what needed to change. But I hit the lowest low of my life last year, and I was operating at the lowest frequency that I've ever operated at. I was mentally spiraling. Emotionally, I was drained. Imposter syndrome took over my life. I was not having fun. We were doing some of the biggest things I've ever done with the brand, but I wasn't enjoying it. And I needed to be really honest with myself, man. Like, I wasn't good enough anymore. The role had outgrown my skill set. And what I needed to do was take a new seat and sit and unseat myself and bring in a new coach, a new leader that can get this organization structurally in place so I can go out and do the things that I'm great at. I'm in no man's land right now. I'm kind of like trying to rebrand myself. I'm trying to refounder myself right now and lead from a different seat and show that I can provide value in a unique way that only I can do. But honestly, man, the acquisition changed everything, right? I thought when I sold and we had the acquisition that I can be more creative. I took stress, I de-risked myself. I took some chips off the table. I can have more fun. And then I show up to work 3 days later and it was like, holy shit, Chase, you just added 100 times more pressure because you have the second largest eyewear company in the world that bet $90 million on you to deliver future results. Then I was like, holy shit, I just added 100 times more pressure to my plate. And so everything got increasingly more hard. And the pressure just crushed me. It just crushed me. And I wasn't doing the best work I could. I was suffering. I was 1 degree away from full-blown depression. Full-blown depression, man. My team wanted to grow. My team wanted direction. They wanted to keep expanding. We weren't growing. We had some really challenging, tough parts. I couldn't even show up to meetings. I mean, Curtis, I'm not kidding you, man. This was the darkest moment of my life. And talk about almost quitting, but I knew that I got to keep going. Like, just keep fighting. So now I'm in this exciting new position. I'm able to do things like this that I want to do and have more fun with the brand. And I still carry the weight of the responsibility, but I'm not taking the pressure and the hits like I was before because I was living 2 different lives. Walking outside, you guys are crushing it, Coach Prime. The brand was at a whole new level. But backstage, I was being told it's not good enough. You got to hit your numbers more. And so I felt like, am I winning or am I losing? And it just mentally, it just screwed me up.
That's hard to deal with. I appreciate you being vulnerable and letting people know that. And a lot of people don't see the pressure. And I would agree, even from the outside, I'm like, wow, you guys are crushing. But then again, when you do sell and go corporate or private, you got the partner back there going, it's not good enough.
It's not good enough.
So now you're at the highest of the high with Prime and the release. And then, but personally inside, you're like, I'm the lowest of the low because all of my team thinks we're doing great. But then our partner doesn't.
Exactly. And the whole world around you is like, you guys are killing it. The brand is more recognized. And it's true. Like, every agent in the book was calling me. Anyone in sports would take my call, right? So like, the whole world is our oyster now. But backstage, I was being told it wasn't good enough. And it just crushed me, dude. And there's this extreme ownership mentality as founders take. Some do, some don't. I just took all the burden and I internalized it. My team didn't even know how burnt and fried and frustrated I really was until I kind of just had like a full-blown state of the union of like, guys, I'm burning inside. I'm dying inside. I need help. And I just broke down, dude. And it just like, the team just opened up. And they're like, why haven't you been telling us this?
Because sometimes you can't.
And I just sheltered everything from them because I was the one just taking the punches backstage because I wanted to keep their spirits high. Like when you're missing goal month over month, how do you keep the team motivated? And we hit a lot of challenges. There's a year, last year we shrunk. Mm-hmm. And it's just like you said, you take 1 step back, take 2 steps forward. So that's us right now, redefining our identity, regaining the muscle, letting old muscle go, build new muscle, and just keep moving.
What are some of the things that you've done in the last year after hitting? I mean, I know what it's like to stress. I may not have a corporation behind me, but I'm the same as you, where I put a lot of pressure on myself. Most of mine is to provide for my family or to help and serve others. And I had to stop serving others to like remove that from, like, I can't provide because I'm so stressed out that like certain people are like, man, you're gonna have a heart attack, you're doing too much. I had to trim that. What are some of the things you're doing now today to remove the stress, deal with the stress? I mean, obviously the CEO, hiring a CEO was one of the moves. But what do you do now in a day-to-day life to try and stay away from the depression, stay on the positive note, and continue on?
I mean, it's just like my leadership coach tells me this all the time. He's like, Chase, you got to take fun seriously. Like, take fun seriously. Like, enjoy yourself. Like, stop being so like focused on this. Have more fun with the business. Do things that fill up your cup. And honestly, it's going back to SDSU. It's mentoring college students. It's sharing my story. And that's the only thing that got me through some of those darkest times was like, I didn't feel worthy. I didn't feel valuable. And sometimes you just need that validation to feel like you're enough. And so like mentoring college students, working with SDSU, which is close to my home. I went to school there, and working with the basketball team, which has always been a big thing for me. And doing things that are close to my heart, man, doing things that light me up, doing this, having conversations with people, smiling genuinely, and getting out in the world more, shaking hands, and, seeing the kind of impact that we've created, and really interacting with customers, and doing things that like light my soul. And that's what I'm kind of focused on right now is just having more fun, man, trying to enjoy it, not take it too harsh, and just be kinder to myself, dude. I'm like, I beat myself up so much, and I have this expectation that I want to hit, but just to let it go sometimes.
I think for any business owner, we talk about balance all the time. I'm trying to find balance. It's nearly impossible until you really focus on it. I've been just grinding for years and build this business. It's great. But this year I hit burnout, like you said, where I just stopped coming into this office for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like I literally had anxiety. I don't have anxiety, or I've never had that issue or whatever. I had anxiety for the first time in my life.
Yeah.
Even coming to the office, it was pressure I put on myself.
Yeah.
Because I had so much going on. I'm like, okay. I literally went golfing on a Tuesday. I hadn't golfed in 4.5 years. And that's also why I went to Fiji this year.
Yeah, I love that.
I booked it about last year, but I'm like, I need a break to turn off the phone,
exactly,
and focus on surfing, because I just hadn't.
Yeah.
Literally, I hadn't been to Fiji since 2019. That's when I saw you.
Yeah.
I was surfing Tahiti, Fiji, Bali. Okay. I went to Bali for a month after I saw you. I hadn't done that because I had kids, and those were my most important thing. Besides working and being a founder, I do real estate. But it's the same. It's like I have a target. I'm trying to help people make money. And I hit that burnout. So I'm always curious when someone hits a burnout, and yours was at the high.
At the high. And like we are doing things I've only dreamed of, but like I wasn't enjoying it. I wasn't having fun. I wasn't appreciating the ride. I wasn't like popping my head above the weeds to just like soak it all in, But yeah, dude, I mean, in the spirit of disconnection, like it's very, very hard. And there's only like really one place in the world that will do that for me, and that is Fiji. Our website can go down in Fiji and I'd still surf, right? But that's that's a lot harder said than done. Yep. You know what I mean?
Because you care.
Because you care so much, man. And you take on the burden, you take the responsibility, and there's no off switch, dude. It's 24/7. And always talk to new entrepreneurs, and they're talking about work-life balance. And I'm like, dude, you've already lost. Mm-hmm. Don't come into the game talking about work-life balance, right? Yep. Work-life balance is looked at as like, you got to earn that, right? Mm-hmm. You got to go psycho for years and do a ton of stuff you don't want to do before you can do a lot of stuff that you do want to do. And you got to reframe your perspective of balance. Look at it at the entire course of your life, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, not even sacrifice. I invested so much in my 20s to then reap those rewards in my 30s. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so that's balance, right? It's not like 6 hours working, 6 hours at the gym. You've got to get to a level where you can then do that. But if you're going to give 6 hours and the next guy's going to give 10 hours, you're going to get beat.
Yep.
Right? So, that's why I think this entrepreneur space is getting a little gross, because everybody's just saying a bunch of fluff. That's not true. Mm-hmm. I'm like, you guys don't understand how hard this is. Mm-hmm. And then they go out and do it, and then they like, oh, it didn't work. And it's like, no, you just learned from the wrong person. Yeah. You got advice from the wrong person. So I try to use my story as much as to tell the hard truths, the stuff you probably don't want to hear, but you need to hear, and just like what this journey truly takes.
It's the reality of it, not what certain people see on Instagram or display on Instagram.
It's toxic, man. It's a dystopia. It's a full-blown false mirage.
As much as we like social media for marketing and maybe learning some things, but honestly, social media I think is kind of bad for the world.
It's terrible. In a sense. Yeah.
Because too many people are comparing themselves and not feeling worthy of like these people flaunting everything on Instagram. Like, I'll never be that person.
Totally.
Because I don't care about material things. All I really care about is my family and friends.
Right.
And investors, But other than that, I'll never be that person. And I've gotten phone calls from people like, hey, I'm drawn to your content because like I'm a family man trying to provide for my family. And I went, whoa, thanks for the phone call. I'm going to just keep pouring into the family stuff. For a while, I wasn't posting family stuff.
And that's energizing, though.
It is. So now I'm going, my target is to help people make more money through real estate investments.
Yes.
Like, that's the love of what I do. Before I became a pilot, I was actually a financial advisor. And the only reason I quit that was I had a boss saying, you need to come in more. I'm like, wait, but hold on. I work for myself. I just work under your name. Like, you're the broker. And I said, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this for the next 30 years of having a boss. And so I went through some of that same stuff, and here I am, full circle, helping people with real estate, the stuff I actually love.
Yes, and you're happy, you're enjoying it, and you're like leaning into that, But you had to earn that. You can't just do that from day one. You had to earn that.
Yeah, I didn't start from scratch. I'm like, I've been investing for 10 years. Right. So people say, well, what's your experience? Well, hold on, let me list it all for 10 years. The wins and the losses.
Totally.
And for me, it's like I had to have meetings with people that were smarter than me, that were in commercial real estate. So I left residential because they simply had lunch and go, hey, this is why all the big guys are in commercial.
Yeah.
And I went, wow, I don't own any residential rental houses anymore. Yeah. And that was a big deal to me.
Yeah.
And now I'm like teaching other people, like there's one guy I met, he has 40 rental houses and he wants to get to 100.
Yeah, see,
he's a commercial broker. He sells these kind of, and I go, but why? And then everybody in that room that I talked about was like, sell all 30 houses or 40 houses and buy like 3 commercial buildings and call it good.
Yeah.
You'll have no more headaches. You got 4 kids. Like that was our advice to him in the room.
Wow.
Like this month.
Right.
And so like I said, even being in rooms where people are huge, sometimes they're just so like focused on a goal that might not be their perfect goal.
Totally.
And you can lean in and go, hey, this is what I did.
Yep.
And a lot of my advice is this is how I removed a lot of stress.
Right.
And now I'm growing bigger, faster, whatever it will, because I have less stress.
Right.
Couple last questions for you before we wrap it up. So what does a perfect day in San Diego look like now that you got your new role at Blenders? Like, what's your perfect day?
We're talking work or no work? I actually love, I
probably love it like I do.
Yeah, every day is like a chance to dance. I look at every day as like a new chance to dance now, right? I wake up at 5:30. I usually do yoga in the morning. I live 2 blocks from the office. I have a golf cart. So like all my friends have golf carts. So it's like the most fun way to get around town. Drive my golf cart to work, have a coffee, I get in the office, and I just love being in the office, man. I just love it. It's a creative energy source for me. It's a second home. And I just take so much pride in it, And so, I kind of grind in the office, and then I leave at about 3. I'll do yoga again, or I'll go on a long walk, or I'll go for a surf. If the waves are good, I'll try and get in the water. If it's windy, probably hit the mat instead. I've become much more of a selective surfer over the years. But I'm pretty simple, man. I'm a pretty simple guy. Like, I just love the San Diego lifestyle. I love leaning into the brand. I love communicating with customers. I love walking the boardwalk and seeing customers all over the place wearing Blenders and talking to them about what do they love about their sunglasses. So the brand is so ingrained in my lifestyle, in my life, that it's hard to truly disconnect from it. But I'm a pretty easygoing guy. I like going out and having fun, this and that. But I like more so going out with a purpose. I'm not just going to go out just to go out, right? I value sleep. I take sleep seriously now. So I want to get a 90 plus on my Oura ring every night and make me feel good in the morning.
It's wild. I've been focusing on sleep, let's just say the last 5 months. Since I hit that burnout, sleep wasn't prioritized, even though I tried.
Right.
And with 2 kids, I will say it's harder. But you know what? I've kind of made it work, even when they wake me up in the middle of the night, because I used to be the late night guy and not get up early. Now I'm the 5:30. I'm in bed at 8. I may not be asleep till 9:30.
Right.
I'm in bed at 8.
Yeah, that's great.
I love it.
Yeah, so do I.
Like, don't invite me out to dinner unless it's like a birthday or like even then. Like, I'll go to lunch. Like, let's have a lunch meeting. It's gonna be a business thing or to catch up. And we don't do dinner. It's like we go out to lunch or business and
I love that.
Family dinner at home, 6:00. And I'm like you. I'm a simple guy. I want to hang out with good people.
Totally.
And a lot of time it's like, come to the office. Let's catch up or get a workout in.
Right.
I would like to add in some more surfing.
Yeah.
That's my goal.
Same, dude.
I
always say that too. It's like I want to get in the water more often,
You know what it is for surfing in San Diego, I feel like, and this is us being bougie probably, it's get up early, let's check the surf. Like, I live a mile from the beach, so I drive down there, and if it's not like 3 to 4 foot and good, I'm going to go to the gym.
Yeah.
Now I'm actually going to get back into hot yoga. I was doing it in 19.
Okay, good. Yeah, that changed my life.
I like just got out of it during COVID. They shut down.
Yep.
And never went back.
Right.
Because I bought a new house. It's 15-minute drive. And I'm like, it's kind of far.
Right.
Now I'm like, nope, I need hot yoga. In my 40s, surfing is not, I'm not surfing as well. So I'm like, let's get back to hot yoga.
Yeah, totally.
Let's get flexibility going.
Exactly.
But my day's similar to yours, so I love that. What's one piece of advice you could give to your broke surf coach self back in 2012?
Oh man.
Because there's other people out there listening to this.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much to this question.
There
right?
is. Give it like
I think it's like
main piece.
I think like stop waiting and start doing. Get out of your head and into the world, right? Like I wasted 8 months trying to perfect the sunglass at the beginning stages, and the head of entrepreneurship at San Diego State was just like, Chase, show up on March 13th, whatever product you have, just figure it out, but make sure you have a booth on March 13th. If you didn't tell me that, I would have spent another 8 months trying to like perfect the sunglass. And there's a saying like, if your product's perfect, you waited too long to launch. And every entrepreneur fumbles right here. This is where they just get in their own way. They overthink, they have self-doubt, and just go for it, because regret hurts way more than failure.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. People are scared to launch, and you're not going to succeed. You're going to learn through the course of launching and through the course of doing like you did.
Experience is life's best teacher, man, truly. And that's the only way to learn. You can absorb all the knowledge. You can learn from everybody. You can read every book, listen to every, you got to go apply it. You got to go get on the field and go do it. Like life and entrepreneurship is a contact sport. You got to get out there and make it happen.
Yeah, I love it. Would you say that relationships are what drives growth personally and professionally?
Absolutely, man. I mean, so much is poured into people. And you kind of learn it's all about the people. Like I've talked to so many different CEOs and ex-founders that are older in their 50s and 60s. And I was like, what's your biggest regret? Like, they all said the same thing. I wish I would have poured more into my people. I wish I would have invested more into them. I would have moved people up faster, moved people out quicker, and just had more experiences with their people. So important, man, because you spend so much time with these people. You want to work with good people. And with partnerships, like, yeah, you want to, both people need to be emotionally invested in that. If it's a business transaction, it will never work. If you have to look at the contract, it will never work. That's why Prime has been so successful, because we're emotionally connected. Like there's like a bond there that's bigger than business. And that's the biggest thing that I've learned is like the relationship side of things is everything, man. Everything.
I love it. I agree with the same thing, and I'm focused on deeper, more meaningful relationships with the people that I want to be around and the people that you don't know now. There are people out there right now, lots of them, that I don't know that will be a meaningful relationship in the future someday.
Totally. Yeah. And that goes for all areas of your life. That goes for family, that goes for friends, that goes for like romance and business. Like, that's something I just need to get better at for sure.
Yeah. Well, now hopefully you got some more free time,
I got some time
to focus on.
Yeah.
So we met surfing on a special island in Fiji.
Best.
It probably was 2019.
Yeah, I was trying to remember
Either 18 or
when
19.
I was trying to remember what year it was.
It was right before COVID, because I was doing like surfing.
Yeah.
All I was doing was surfing. I wasn't really doing much real estate. I got hard into real estate during COVID. I had a couple properties, so I was on a surf tour of the world that year when I met you. But we met on the best island in Fiji called Tavarua. What does surfing mean to you, growing up around the beach?
Surfing is like my creative sanctuary. It's my safe place, my safe haven. It's a place to disconnect. And surfing, I can't think of a better thing that teaches you more about the world and more about life and more about business than surfing, right? It teaches you humility. It teaches you patience. It teaches you timing. It teaches you respect. It's just you in the ocean, man. I mean, it's the same thing in entrepreneurship. It's you versus the world, right? And so I look at surfing as like always a great metaphor for life, right? You're going to wake up some days, ocean's going to be calm, it's going to be small. You're going to wake up the next day, it's going to be blown out, windy, and totally like howling offshore or howling onshore. And so you never know what you're going to get. And surfing to me is always that place to continually grow and pour into. And it's just something that I use as a way to keep my head in the game, to ground me, to let my inner child fly. Because at the end of the day, it's about one thing, having fun.
Yeah.
Right?
I love it. And that's for myself too. I want to get surfing more to bring me back to just, surfing at a younger age or even like more recent. I need that escape.
You need that
You get
escape.
exercise. I get something. I'm one of those people. If it is sunny out, I'm in a better mood.
Right.
Just because, like, being trapped in the office, as much as I love the office, it's sunny outside. At 3:00, I'll be taking the kids to the beach or the park or whatever it may be. But I want to start surfing more because it does something for your brain too.
It does something for your brain. It humbles you. And that's what we need in this game, especially entrepreneurship. To continually grow, you got to get humbled.
Yeah.
You got to have humility. You got to wipe out. You got to have some late takeoffs and not make it to be like, oh shit, okay, I probably shouldn't do that again.
I had plenty of those last trip to Fiji.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, it was a weird one. People are like, how was it? I go, well, humbling. They're like, oh, it sounds like a 40-year-old surf trip. I go, well, I guess, yep, I wasn't 40 on the last trip.
They'll never get it. They'll never get it, man.
Yeah.
It's beautiful chaos out there, man.
You got it. Yeah. What's one book that you've read that you really made an impact on you that maybe the listeners should read?
The last book that had a really big impact on me was The Creative Act. I think it's by Rick Rubin or Rick Rubin. Great book, man. And my leadership coach gave it to me before a trip to Europe. And honestly, it just slowed me down. In a world that you're moving 1,000,000 miles an hour, when you're always so future focused, always on to the next thing, you don't appreciate the moment. You don't live in the moment. You're not relishing the presence, right? And that book just teaches you so much about being present with life, and that everybody in life is their own creator. Like, we're all experienced in the world, but we all see things differently. We hear things differently. We interpret things differently. And it made me just appreciate a lot more of just the art of creation, because I love to create, like, bring ideas to life. But just the power of presence, man, because entrepreneurship is, you're not present. You're always future focused. You're always focused on the next thing. And dude, I just want to enjoy the journey, man. I want to enjoy this, have fun, because that's what matters.
I love it. So I haven't read that book. I haven't heard it yet.
The Creative Act.
So I can't wait. So that's going to go on my list because it sounds like exactly what I'm trying to do more for myself. One last question. How do you want to be remembered?
I mean, man, I don't want to be the guy that just sold sunglasses. Like, there's no honor in that. You know what I mean? Like, I want my legacy to be about meaning. I want to redefine what bold means, to live boldly and be courageous, right? And to be the guy that said, you know what, he went for it. And not only did he go for it, but he impacted and inspired a ton of people along the way. And he showed people what it looks like to live boldly. And by doing so, he made the world cooler, more fun, and a more enjoyable place for everybody. And I want to see my team all win. I want to see their dreams come true. So I want to be the change maker. I want to be a change maker, man.
Well, you're well on your way. I mean, after a successful business, and now I'm inspired, and I can't wait to see what you do with a lot more free time. I know you're out there touring and giving, speeches in San Diego and business class, and you're giving back. And I love to see that. I'm a big proponent of giving back. I like doing charity work myself, and I think it gives you more meaning. I actually get more rewarding out of giving than I do like a big business win.
Yeah, man.
Like that.
It's so funny. It's like it's always those small acts of kindness go so far, and it just fills your cup. It's never about them. It's always about the impact and like the feeling that somebody can have. And yeah, you want everybody that comes into your orbit and into your ecosystem to be better off because of that experience than not. And that's something that I take pride in. And hopefully everyone at Blenders has had that experience of, whether this is a 2-year gig or this is a 12-year gig, I want you to be a better person because you had that experience and not. So, and much respect to you, Curtis, because you're a pilot, man. Fun fact is when I was a kid, I was obsessed with airplanes. I'm still obsessed. I always wanted to be a pilot. That was my goal in life, was to be a pilot. When I met you in Fiji, I was like, he's a pilot for a lot. Like, this is sick. You don't meet very many pilots, and what you've been doing on that level, and like, it's just inspiring. I know that to get that is really challenging. I could have never done what you've done. So massive respect, because I'm like geeking out over here about the aviation.
Yeah,
side of
thanks.
things.
I'm in the process of most likely buying an airplane.
Oh, cool.
I've been switching kind of airplanes the last year or two based on like what I want to do with my kids. So as soon as I get one, I'll take you flying for sure. I'll be based up here in Carlsbad.
Yeah.
We'll go rip around, have some fun.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't fly that often for fun.
Right.
I'm hustling.
Right.
I want to.
Yeah.
So this is me trying to balance. I'm like, let me get a little 4-seat tail wheel that's real fun. You can kind of go anywhere with it, land in the dirt, land in the mountains in Idaho. And I got friends doing it. And for me, I'm like, well, I want to go with friends and my kids on little beach tours. like just sunset time, rip up. It doesn't burn a lot of gas.
Totally.
And it's just you see the world differently from an airplane.
Yeah.
Especially like a general aviation smaller airplane. And I'm excited to do that. I mean, I'm 44, never owned a plane.
That's so
It's time.
It's time.
You know, and my dad's a pilot. He just kind of retired. My grandpa's a pilot, uncle, cousin. So it's in the blood.
It's in the blood. Okay.
The one thing that's not in the blood is the business. It's
Okay.
like, I was born an entrepreneur. Just that's how it's been in the blood.
Yeah.
And for me, real estate is just, it's maybe more simple. I've started other companies that just it's hard to scale or this
Right.
and that. And I'm like, I just love the real estate. And I like to say it, you don't have to be super smart. Like real estate's,
That's
it's not a sure thing, but anybody could do it.
Anybody can do it.
What you're doing is very hard. There's a lot of lows, I'm sure, and where you're just constantly day in, day out, like you said, hitting your head on the wall, and then boom, you get a win. You're like,
Yeah.
thank God I waited.
It's just a game of endurance, man. That's what
Yeah.
this game is. It's like who can endure the most and who can just not stop.
Yeah.
Like, that's entrepreneurship in a nutshell. Like it's everyone's like, oh, you're building the business. No, you're not building. You're building the business, but you're building you. Mm-hmm. You're building you. You're truly.
You have to get to that level, like you talked about, to run a big company.
Yeah.
And then when you hit the top, you're like, I need to start hiring people that are smarter than me to help run this.
Right. You never really know what you're capable of until you jump in, and it'll teach you more about yourself than anything else in life.
Yeah. That's great. So thanks so much for coming on the show.
Absolutely, dude.
Where can people connect with you and learn more?
Check us out. Check us out on Instagram, Chase Fisher, Blenders Eyewear. If you're in San Diego, if you're in PB, come on by. Our doors are always open. We got shades, we got beers, we got burritos, we got the whole shebang. I'll take you on a golf cart ride if you want to, if you're lucky. We're just always cruising around San Diego. So ain't hard to find, as Coach Prime says.
I love it. Well, thanks for spending time on the show. I think listeners got a lot out of this episode. Hopefully we inspired some entrepreneurs.
Absolutely.
And thanks for spending time with us.
Likewise, guys. Thank you.
All right. We'll see you on the next episode. Thanks again.